All right, yeah, here we go. All right, so let's go ahead and start again. This is a session challenging insurance companies and getting paid. Thanks a lot. I wanted to make sure we had this on a recording. They finally queued it up. Dr. Tony, your administrator and founder, is presenting. I enjoy doing this. And again, a little bit about my background: 1981 graduate of Logan College, and is in personal injury for the last almost 39, 40 years. And teaching a lot of personal injury procedures throughout the United States in conventions and doctors' offices, and headed up the personal injury doctors elite community. Started out with 6, and we're over 3,000 and still growing every day. So again, my thanks now into a recording. Thanks again for being part of that, being active, and giving ideas, challenges for us to help each other out for personal injury success. So when you get into your practices, a lot of this information that I'm going to give you today was never taught on how to do a lot of this stuff. And so we decided to put this program together. We just got through with a case with State Farm and just blew them away with what we did in a legal situation. This was a case, just to describe, I put the letter out into the doctors community, and this was the letter we found in discovery that paid consultants 10% of everything they cut as a bonus. And to explain that, there was a $2,000 cut on this bill we had, and they were paid $200 and something on that. And they didn't know we had that situation on discovery. We brought it into the courtroom situation, and they pretty much lost the case, had to pay. So with that, this program evolved because a couple of the doctors asked me how we can do something like this, and can you explain how we did it? And I said, oh, sure, no problem. So I went ahead and just put the program together for everybody to listen to. We've had a packed house tonight, many registered, and we appreciate that. A lot of the proceeds go to my church for an educational program. Just to let you know, that little $62 that you registered with, basically you'll get that back in your first EOB, so I promise you, and more to come, and the value of this education. So thanks again. Hey, okay, so here we go. Over the 30-something years I've been in practice, we sued, and I don't like the word sue, but we have challenged over 103 insurance company reviews and won just about every one of them, except one. They just kind of threw it out because it didn't correlate with the procedure or something we were doing. So we're 103 again and won, but we never lost any. So we never lost any of the cases that we challenged, and a lot of them we didn't even have to go to court, and we're going to tell you how to do that. So basically, the overview of this session is that you can challenge an insurance company legally without your patient being involved, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You can actually go back 1 to 5 years in the statute and pull out all the old files. So if you have old MedPay claims that you had to absorb or got cut or reviewed, if you can find those, you can bring them back to life. And you can collect those fees that are due to you with this system and process we're going to show you. The legal procedures are pretty simple. And it usually puts, if you do it over and over and over again, puts a stop to your practice, your name, and the abuse of reviews of non-necessary cuts that you shouldn't be getting, and you should be paid in full. I just want to remember all of you how you went through school, your universities, the blood, sweat, and tears you put through school to get your degrees, and it's time to get paid the way you're supposed to get paid. So the biggest thing that I always got was the satisfaction that I know as soon as we filed the hearing or the lawsuit that they would have to hire a defense team. And usually with that defense team, it's going to cost them much more money than it is to pay you. And that's the whole core of this whole process, is that as soon as they know they're going to spend money to defend you, they start to cough up the money they owe you anyway. So this is what we're going to go over. So you can get paid and allow the patient who pays that premium to get their benefits rightfully directed to you as payment. All right, so let's go through the steps. I'm going to be straight to the point, very simple, very practical. The first thing you need to do and think about is to hire and find a young whippersnapper attorney, I call them, a good young attorney who's not real busy, maybe in law firms you've worked with personal injury lawyers, but an attorney that will just automatically file these when they come up in your practice. So that's the first step you got to think about, because you're going to need an attorney to do these. And really, these cases you don't see many of, because you know why? Because nobody knows how to do them. Nobody knows what the steps to do these are, and we're going to show you. So look for an attorney, mostly a young attorney, maybe straight out of law school in one of the firms you're working with. Just look around. Mine was very young. He got right out of law school, and he just started filing these things, and all of a sudden, holy cow, this started working. So that's the first step. Now, I want to ask all the doctors on this presentation, do any of you look at every single EOB? And you should. If you do not, that's the first thing you're going to do tomorrow. When those EOBs come in, you need to see the codes. You need to see what has been paid, what has been cut, what is not paid. That's very, very important to look at the EOBs. Most of the practices I've talked to and I've reviewed, they just put them to the side. They put them in their files. They throw them away. Wrong. You can recoup thousands of dollars a month if you just look at your EOBs and to see what these insurance companies are telling you and what they're doing in your coding and your diagnosis. So bottom line, just look at the EOBs. I looked at every one of mine when I started doing this, and it was amazing of what you see. And yeah, it's tedious, and you don't want to read all that little print. They do that for a reason, so you don't have to. So even if you have a staff member looking at the EOBs, you need to double check those EOBs and look at why and how they are paying your practice. That's where you're going to find the gold in these challenges, because the EOBs will show you that this has been reviewed, this is not necessary, this is experimental. These are the key words you want to look for, that they need to prove to you how that has been evolved as an explanation of benefits, EOB. And if you don't know who has reviewed that claim to say this is what it is and this is how it is and this is not medically necessary, you need to find that out. We've got, just on this letters back that RNs are reviewing doctors' claims and cutting bills. We are seeing that executives are behind desk cutting claims and sending them back, and do you even know that's who's doing them? So the first step is, when you get that EOB and you see it's been cut, you make a quick phone call to the insurance company and you find out who did the review. And yeah, you're in different contracts maybe, and you have to realize that, but you have to see who did the review on the EOB that cuts your claim. And a lot of these, mostly you're looking at medical pay, auto, in a personal injury case, notorious for cutting your bill. We just had a case basically where they said one of our doctors was in a Coventry contract. This is an auto med pay, $5,000 med pay, and they cut it through a Coventry pricing. So it was like $800-something out of a $2,000 claim, and we found out that some executive goofball was behind this, just saying he was part of Coventry and cut the claim. Those of you who have never followed up to find out what and who reviewed the claim would have never known that, took the $800, took it toward the account. But really, you should be being paid $2,000. So we caught him in the act, filed a hearing, and they paid it right away. So we didn't even go any more further than the legal hearing petition. So get a good attorney. or the young one is that will do these, and try to get it on a contingency as step one. The contingency means our attorney takes 25% of what he can collect, and maybe a little bit of filing fees just to get it in the courtroom hearing situation. All right, so that's step one. Step two is you're going to look at your EOBs starting tomorrow, every single EOB, and look and review and see what's being paid, what's not being paid. Look for the key words: experimental, unnecessary, above usual and customary, all the other stuff that goes along with they don't want to pay your bill, and pick those up, because those are the ones you will get paid on, because who is telling you it's above usual and customary? Above usual and customary to what? To where? Anyway, so you review the payment correspondence from the insurance companies, reviewer or consultant, and you want to try to find out who did the review. Get the names. I can guarantee you that the insurance companies don't disclose the names. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? First of all, they don't even see your patient physically. That's one thing the judge rules always on their favor. How do you know what the patient has when the attending doctor sees it all and you don't? You're just looking at a bunch of notes and you're cutting claims. So that's one of the big advantages we have when we go in, if we do go in. All right, so EOB review documentation. You're going to send all the documentation to the insurance company to appeal it first, to make sure your coding's right, to make sure all of that description of what your services are is doing. You're doing it right on the first round, and then when they come back and say, no, we're not going to pay it anymore, then you make your move to file the hearing. So what you do in the next step is you copy the actual EOB stating what the excuses are for not paying your bill, and you make sure that the copy of the EOB has the explanation of the amount that's been cut. So the difference, what they should have paid to what hasn't been paid. So you have a difference of what you're going to file the hearing for that amount. Okay? So basically then you just send that along, and we gave you some forms. There's 6 forms that in the package that was sent by email. Hopefully you all got them. I kind of made a confirmation that you all got them by your Facebook messages, and hopefully you did. You will see the 4-step procedures for insurance review dispute. That's what I'm going over now. Pretty much on step number 3, copy the paid and cut based on the review sent along with cover sheet. Your cover sheet is basically, you will see the patient's name there, the physician's name, which could be you or any of the doctors in your offices, your address, the insurance company that was involved, let's say State Farm or Progressive or AAA, or really a health insurance company. And then you want to put the total amount you submitted on that form, and then the amount that was paid, and then the amount you feel that insurance company still owes you on the assignment of benefits, direct payment. Now, going back just a step, we have to get an authorization by our patients to move forward in a litigation or a hearing without the patient being involved. And that's very simple. If you look at the kind of like the assignment of benefits and lien form I have given you in the email on form, this one states doctor's lien and assignment of benefits, if you have it. Now, if you go down to where the 4 X's are, in the dark 4 X's, you will see that down on the second last paragraph, it has the authorization of including the right to seek any available statutory remedies or penalties for non-payment against the insurer including the right to file a lawsuit in the name of the undersigned, which is your patient, in the name of, and they give us the power of attorney to do that. That's the key sentence. It's the right to file a lawsuit in the name of the undersigned, which is the patient signing this for you. So you don't have to bother the patient at all. That's what's cool about this. You can just go ahead, have this signed signature lien authorization, and you can devise this or design this to your office letterhead, put your name of your clinic in there, however you want to do that. It is a copyrighted thing by our attorneys, but for educational purposes, I'm allowing the copyrights to go to all our doctors on this session to use it. But you got to put the right to seek legal remedy and also to file a lawsuit in the name of the patient. So the patient don't have to be involved at all. So you need to have that, the EOB, the cover sheet that shows how much was billed, how much was paid, how much is due to you still. And you basically now have your offense where you send that packet to your attorney, and he simply files it with a court. Very simple procedure. He'll file it by email or whatever they file it with these days with COVID. And all of a sudden, it kicks out a nice little. You will see the other form I sent you has an actual in Circuit Court of the County of Associate Division, State of Missouri. That one there is an actual litigation hearing copy of one of ours that went in, and this is what you'll see. Dr. A.W., which is me as the plaintiff against, this one was against AAA Automobile Club Exchange here in St. Louis. And so now you're the plaintiff, which is a good feeling, against the insurance company, the big bad insurance company, billion-dollar company, and we're petitioning the amount that is owed to us. Now, it's just a 2-page, simple little hearing petition that they will receive, and as soon as they receive it, the insurance company has to hire, or they usually hire their legal team, and I almost guarantee within the first, and this happened to us in just about all cases, within a 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, they're on the phone ready to negotiate a settlement to pay you, because they have to spend, oh gosh, I think it's $1,000 to $1,500 just for their defense to open up a file. So if your bill has been cut $300, $400, $500 to $1,000, I can guarantee they're going to call up and settle it with your attorney. Your attorney will call you up and say, hey, they're offering this amount. You can agree, not agree, or take it further. And all of a sudden you get paid. You get these checks coming in just by filing a hearing. So the key to the hearing is as soon as the insurance company gets the petition through your attorney, their defense team has to be hired, and they start wanting to negotiate, because it's going to cost them a lot more money than what they will have to do when they pay you. So they'd rather pay you and get it off the table. So the copy here is an actual petition that will give you an idea that you can show your attorney. You have the 4-step procedure for the insurance review. You have the cover sheet that shows the patient's name again, the doctor's name, who's filing, total amount of bill, the amount that was paid, the amount that is owed. You basically have the explanation of benefits showing the cut bill, and then you have the amount that you feel you're due. And it's all based on the patient's contracted insurance, usually through automated pay, or it can be health insurance. And you have to be aware of your contract through other insurance companies of what you should be paid. Obviously, hopefully you will look at that before you move forward. What usually happens then is that basically they'd start negotiating the settlement to get you paid, and that's where you get the extra income coming in with your reviews. And the key again is you got to look at your EOBs that come in, look at the explanations of why they didn't pay, which they should have paid, and that's where you gain your extra income every month from those EOBs. Okay, so if we look at what your attorney is going to ask these insurance company, we have a sample request for admissions. And this is how we found out about the letter that showed the bonus paid to the consultant. And this is the one that says Dr. Arthur B. Peabody, and these are just some, fake names. Jane Doe is the plaintiff, and then you have the insurance company. And request for the admissions is what our attorney will ask the insurance company. And number one, they're going to admit that there is a policy of insurance provided by MedPay for the patient or a health insurance policy. They're going to say yes or no. Most of the time it's yes if the premium's paid and it's all up and up. Number two, they're going to admit that this policy of insurance provided for payment for chiropractic care or medical care, whatever care you're giving, if you're an integrated office. Number three, that you received a bill from the plaintiff for services rendered to the patient, which basically means you sent a claim in on behalf of the patient to be paid directly to you. And then number four, you admit that you've not paid the bill in full, which basically means they did the review, they cut the claim, so they didn't pay it like they were supposed to, and so they answer yes to all of those. And then somebody from their office signs it, which is usually the defense attorney defending your hearing with the attorney. So pretty much those are pretty much the easy practical steps. Again, to revamp real quickly on an overview, it's an action step that usually is not taught because a lot of us don't know, was never taught how to challenge the insurance companies, and now we're going to give you the steps in this little simple session that I put together for our PI Doctors Elites to start doing this if you want to do it. I mean, you have to put action to these steps. So again, get a good young attorney, connect. There's a lot of attorneys in the personal injury attorneys that you work with that will take these on. This is something of a new creation sometimes, new revenue for him new or her, new revenue for you for sure to get you paid, and for the insurance company not to bother you again in the future as you keep doing these. And two, to review all the EOBs. And once you get the EOBs that are cutting your claims, you make note of why they're cutting them, and you make copies of those. You put them on the cover letter that we have that shows the patient's name, your name, the amount that was billed, the amount that was paid, the amount that's due. First, you have already exhausted your appeals or maybe recoding things to get in again to be repaid. And if that doesn't happen, then we move forward with giving this all to our attorneys with the signed authorization from your patient that usually you should have done in the first visit they come in, that allows you in their name to file the lawsuit or hearing without bothering the patient. You package that up in a nice little package. You can fax it. You can via HIPAA protection, or you can mail it. You can whatever to get to your attorney. Your attorney reviews it, files it in a court. The insurance company gets the challenge hearing, and boom, within a week or two, we don't want to hire defense. We're going to start now negotiating payment. Your attorney calls you up, gives you the negotiated payment. You can accept it, not accept it, take it to court. If it goes to court, there's no big jury or nothing like that. It's just a hearing with a judge. You and the insurance company and your attorney and their attorney, and it's basically the judge always asks you, have you seen the patient on the defense side? And they say no. well, how can you make a determination of this and this and this and that? And they usually lose every time. But they don't even take it to the courtroom situation. All right, so that's pretty much the story. But you can go back 5 years. So this is 2021. You can go back to 2016. 5 years. So if you got 5 years of EOBs, you got cut and slaughtered pretty well. You can pull that out and file this and be paid, believe it or not. So you got a lot of gold in those file cabinets or electronic billing records that you have to do a little research, but it's well worth it. And you don't have to be write anything off. You don't have to be taking these reviews and IMEs and everything else that we take because we don't know what else to do to fight back with an offense. And now you do. So you want to keep these 4 steps on your file or in your file for your insurance department to start looking at these. And you should be able to validate your procedure for challenging these reviews and getting paid again. And the fun part about it is exciting when you get one of these. You can throw it back in their face, find out who did the reviews, get the names of the consultants, which they hardly ever give you, and because they're in it for gratification and for the benefits of income a lot of times, even though they tell you they're not, they are. We put in a consultant law way back in 1992 in the state of Missouri. And our consulting law is, first of all, the whole state board of examiners have to know who you are. You have to have 100 hours every year to be a consultant. You have to disclose your name. And so, wow, we had a lot of them disappearing real quick back in 1991, and that consultant law stays to this day. And that was basically in the chiropractic board. Now, if you're integrated and you have medical situations, that's a whole nother story sometimes, and you can check it out. But a lot of times these just go away and they pay you if you file these hearings. So anyway, I'm going to give you my number. You can call me. This is in a recording. You're going to get the recording for this 4 steps and the procedure. It's not a long session at all. It's just enough just to give you the practical aspects of how to do it and how to use it, how to train your staff to look for things, and to put them on your desk so you can follow through with the procedure. My number is 314-348-9334. I'm here in St. Louis, Missouri, Central Standard Time. Call anytime. I do have reference to my attorney at any time to talk with you on how to do this. And you can always private message me on the Facebook community, Personal Injury Doctors Elite Community. All right, that is it. That's a quick session. It's quick 4 steps. It should take you to where you want to go to get you paid. And I'm always available to help you out, advise you, and give comments on the Personal Injury Doctors Elite Community. So I want to thank all of you for joining us. Always for your ideas, challenges, and solutions to make our Personal Injury Doctors Elite community the best in procedure and to help each other out. Hey, Dr. Tony, your administrator, founder, thank you again, and I enjoy always teaching and advising a lot of our doctors and doing what they need to be doing to be the best in personal injury. And we thank you for attending. All right, this session has now ended. Thanks. See you and the community.